I never thought a simple business trip would change my life forever. My husband had gone away for work, leaving me alone for the weekend, and my plans were simple: rest, catch up on reading, and enjoy a little peace. But fate had other ideas. It started with a phone call late on Friday afternoon. My brother's best friend, Daniel, who had been out of town for months, was back in the city and, according to him, had nowhere to stay. I hesitated at first. He was family by friendship, close enough to be almost like a brother, yet I knew the lines could blur if we weren't careful. But something about his tone, the urgency, the hesitation, the loneliness, made me agree. "Okay, Daniel. You can stay with me for the night," I said, trying to sound casual. He sounded relieved. "Thanks." I didn't want to bother anyone, but I didn't have a choice. When he arrived, I tried to maintain a sense of normalcy. We had grown up together in the same circle of friends, so we were comfortable, but I could sense a tension that hadn't been there before. He looked different somehow, older, more confident, yet there was a vulnerability I hadn't noticed before. After dinner, the conversation flowed easily at first. We laughed about old memories, shared minor frustrations about life, and talked about people we both knew. But as the night wore on, I realized we were both aware of the situation, the hotel, the privacy, the unspoken possibility that this night could become something different. I tried to brush it off, telling myself I was imagining things, that it was just the proximity and the comfort of old friendship. But when I saw the way he looked at me, the intensity in his eyes, the subtle hesitation in his movements, I began to wonder if I had been wrong. The hotel room was modest, a single bed and a small sofa. I had booked it to ensure privacy and comfort. Daniel insisted I take the bed, and he would sleep on the sofa. I agreed, feeling a strange mixture of gratitude and tension. Something about sharing the space with him, something that had always been safe and innocent, now felt charged with potential energy I hadn't felt before. I sat on the bed, scrolling through my phone, pretending to be distracted. He was on the sofa, seemingly engrossed in a book, but I could sense his eyes on me every few minutes. The silence between us was thick, unspoken, but filled with awareness. Every brush of our hands as I handed him a drink, every accidental touch, seemed magnified. At some point, the boundaries we had carefully maintained began to blur. A laugh, a shared memory, a glance that lingered too long. The night became a slow dance of hesitation and curiosity. I could feel the tension building between us, unspoken and undeniable. And then, finally, it happened. He leaned forward to adjust something on the bedside table, and our hands brushed. The touch was electric, sending a shiver down my spine. I looked up, and our eyes met. The world seemed to stop. For a moment, nothing else existed but the awareness of each other, the weight of proximity, and the undeniable attraction that had been simmering beneath the surface all these years. Before I could think, he leaned closer, and our lips met. It was tentative at first, testing the boundaries, and then more urgent, more insistent. Every moment that followed felt surreal. I had known him for years, trusted him like family, and now, in the quiet privacy of that hotel room, everything changed. I knew what we were doing was dangerous. I knew the consequences could be severe, how it would affect my marriage, my relationship with my brother, the trust one had always maintained. But in that moment, none of that mattered. All that mattered was the connection, the passion, and the undeniable chemistry that had been hiding beneath years of friendship. The night unfolded like a whirlwind. Every glance, every touch, every kiss was electric. We explored the boundaries that had always been unspoken, discovering emotions and desires that had been dormant. The hotel room, once neutral and ordinary, became a world of its own, a place where the outside world did not exist. By morning, reality began to creep back in. We were both aware of the gravity of what had happened, the lines that had been crossed, and the secrets that now had to be kept. We dressed silently, avoiding eye contact, the air between us heavy with unspoken words. The room, which had been a place of passion and exploration, now felt like a place of tension and consequence. We left the hotel separately, avoiding any interactions that might reveal what had transpired. The drive back home was silent for me, my mind racing with emotions, guilt, excitement, fear, and anticipation. I knew that nothing would ever be the same again, that the dynamics of our relationships had shifted permanently. In the following days, we returned to normal life, or at least, we tried. The memory of that night lingered, unspoken but ever present. Every conversation, every interaction was tinged with the awareness of what had happened. We maintained a careful balance, pretending everything was normal, but both of us knew that the connection we had experienced was real, and it had changed us forever. I often thought about the consequences. How would my husband react if he ever knew? How would my brother respond? What would this do to our friendship, our trust, our lives? The questions were endless, but the answers were uncertain. And yet, I could not deny the truth. That night had revealed emotions and desires I could no longer ignore. It had shattered the illusion of safety and innocence that had always surrounded our friendship. It had forced me to confront my own feelings, my own needs, and the reality that life is unpredictable, full of moments that change everything in an instant. Through it all, one thing became clear: sometimes, the people closest to us hold the keys to experiences we never imagined. Sometimes, trust and friendship can turn into something more, something powerful, something that leaves an indelible mark on our lives. If you want to hear more stories like this, full of suspense, emotional twists, and life-changing secrets, make sure to subscribe to Life Secret Stories. Every story on this channel takes you behind closed doors, into moments people don't expect, and reveals truths that stay with you long after the video ends. Life continued, but I could never forget that weekend. Every time I saw Daniel, every time I remembered the intensity of that night, I was reminded that life is fragile, unpredictable, and full of surprises. Secrets, desires, and emotions we think we understand can emerge when we least expect them, and sometimes, a single night can change everything. As weeks turned into months, we maintained our secret, aware that the world would not understand and that the consequences of discovery could be devastating. Yet the memory of that night remained vivid, a reminder that human connections are complicated, unpredictable, and often impossible to ignore. Life Secret Stories is a place where these realities come alive. If you want more gripping tales that explore the hidden sides of relationships, secrets, and emotional drama, subscribe now. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that could leave you thinking, shocked, or emotionally moved. That weekend was more than just a hotel stay, it was a turning point. It was a reminder that life is full of moments that can't be anticipated, that desires and emotions can surface in ways we never expect, and that sometimes, the people we trust most are the ones who reveal the most about ourselves. Looking back, I realized that experience taught me about vulnerability, trust, and the complexity of human emotion. It showed me that even relationships we think we understand can hold hidden depths, and that sometimes, the most unexpected encounters can leave the most lasting impact. Life Secret Stories brings you moments like these, stories that explore the hidden corners of human relationships, the secrets people keep, and the unforgettable events that shape lives. Subscribe now, and join us as we uncover the untold, the emotional, and the shocking stories that define us.